Today I have a very, very special guest that we work together. We are 13 hours difference. Second attempt.
Second attempt.
My great friend, Anton Wormann.
Hello, Bell. Long time no see. I'm great. It's been a long time. I'm happy to see you again.
It's funny because we just see each other in Instagram and it feels like time didn't pass, but I haven't seen you for how long?
It was right before COVID. I was back in New York. You were the last person I saw. I went from your apartment straight to the airport, I remember.
You've been doing great in Tokyo.
So I've been living in Tokyo for the past 4 years. I have 12 years of modeling experience, mostly in Europe and then in New York, where I got to know you, Bell.
Do you remember when we met?
2016? No, 2017. 2017 was. Time flies. And you've been living in London since, right?
I was in London last year for half a year and I just got back to New York.
But New York wants you, Bell.
And I love Tokyo. I want to go back.
Ah.
Definitely, I want to see your house. You've been like building your house. And
I just finished this house. So I'm still modeling full time, but I'm also kind of like a carpenter and a YouTuber.
I wanted to talk about the film that we did together.
Yes, amazing experience. Thank you so much for your trust. Great memories.
How we came up with the concept?
It's just to go see, and I showed up, and we just talked for like 2 hours. Yeah, let's make a film together. And it was just like you wanted to shoot something really small, but we thought about the concept. And the project just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger all the time.
Usually my projects are in the context of what I'm feeling at the moment. And there was this thing of work, of the 9 to 5, right? Like everybody work, but in our industry, we don't have that. You never know when you're working, you never know what time you're shooting. And I was editing a lot at night, the other way around. Also, what I liked, the idea was of narrative, but going backwards. And that's
Memento, right?
Memento. Yeah, that was an amazing movie. Everybody should watch it. Supposedly, he was waking up from a night out and he was hungover and then he gets ready to go to work. Well, in the story, he never went back home. He just had the clothes around in a bag and then he just changed on the streets and went to work. So that's the part that becomes a little bit confusing.
I remember the day of the shoot we had, you put the storyboard on Post-it notes and you could tell how your brain was working, like, and you had all your ideas and I have everything on like Post-it notes and you were like talking like a, like Albert Einstein kind of moment, when you're thinking too fast and you can't explain it. I remember I was just standing there for like 15 minutes and you were just pushing these scenes around.
That's one thing that I tell everybody is script and have your scenes written is super important. The story is what really makes you watch things. In this case, we had to go backwards and then forward. Which was your favorite scene?
I think it was Chinatown. We spent like 2 or 3 hours in Chinatown and it got dark. I liked when I was dressing and I was looking for the keys. And I also like the scene where like the kind of Arc de Triomphe.
Two favorites actually were the Chinatown and the Arc. I had this fascination for what happens in big cities. So when people walk from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m., the people who are just they live during the time that everybody's sleeping. I used to have a friend, very dear friend, Monica, for you. And then we just go to clubs on the west side and then dancing all night and everything. And then we would leave like very early in the morning. It was this feeling of quietness and the sky was soft blue and your skin, because it was on the west, you still feel everything. And then suddenly all the people start to walk around. I was actually impressed with the crying. When you feel like lonely, you were crying or you were putting the drops. And then when you put the thing on your face, the mask, or it was really the eyes in the morning.
It was your script.
My stories never come just from me. They come from our conversation. I wouldn't have done it with anybody else, like it had to be you.
We had so many cuts. I think it was definitely one of my favorite shoots in my career. Definitely one of my It's definitely one of my favorite shoots in my career, yeah.
Thank you.
Usually when you're modeling, like you're always told what to do. and you're always like, you should always be like cool. I've never been a part of the process.
The story was interesting because at one point we didn't even know who was who, right? It was this something that happened the day before, or why the eyes, why the mask, and why the water, the shower,
Yeah.
and especially towards the end when it's really two people and the one throws the key to the other one.
That's the funny part. Everybody likes watching it, but then not everybody gets the story because it's so like visually beautiful and it's all connected, but you don't have to get the story. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things.
Doing films that you put a lot of layers is that actually some people would ask me questions. So this is not logical. We were not following logic. We had a kind of a script, and then you would move a card of the script on a different place, and the story would change completely. And that's why I was very into my cards. I have to make sure that I have everything shot, and then I will decide how you put it together. Every time I show something that with a concept like that, people come up with, they see something different. And I love that because it's their take on what you are doing. I think when you throw the story and you tell them, oh, it's going this way, this is a good guy, this is a bad guy, this is it's too predictable.
So it has to have some mystery in it, right?
Something. I mean, like I'm with the clock go backwards. I was like, you don't understand that we're going backwards. Because at the beginning it's not very clear because it's going on future, but the timing is on reverse. So it's not that you're going on reverse. You're going in pieces of time.
It's kind of like mind bending. Like, okay, when is the future and when is the past? Kind of like messes with your head in a way. So used to like follow one story that follows one path, and then when you have to rethink it, like, okay, what's gonna come after? But after is actually before.
Yeah. I saw this show, they put 1 day before, 2 months earlier. It's like, no, make it with film, make it with language. Let's talk about the clothing, because this was supposed to be more like a fashion film, and then we make it a little more conceptual. Send me the pictures of some of the outfits.
Because we were talking for like 2 weeks.
I had many inspirations. It was a little bit of Fight Club with my friend Timothy. He's a great stylist, and he lent me some clothes for us. But also we did something, things that they were not happening. Like you had these YSL boots with the pants that like nobody.
And the bag as well, right?
Yeah. And there were things that people wouldn't put together. But then later on they became more fashionable. I love that you mixed like this super expensive jacket with like a shirt that I got in some like a little store.
High and low, right?
It's about the style. It's not about the labels, how it works with the character. But I love to give homages to movies that were influences. And we did the little psycho scene.
Remember, you were really pushing for the eye drops. I'd never done eye drops in my life, but it turned out really beautiful. Great choice with the music as well, I think.
Yeah.
Because like there's no line in the entire movie, but it's like with the music, it follows the story and very beautiful.
You feel love. You feel for the character. I don't know. I felt like he was lonely, that he was partying and doing all these things, but at the end he was alone. It's hard to explain. I think for people to, I think we can talk about it because we did it, but then you have to watch it to see all the little details. And that's what I love about when we worked together. We knew all the little details.
There was 1 or 2 scenes that you last minute were like changing up.
I always like the last minute changes because
now I'm confused again.
It shakes the whole thing, and it makes it more interesting. It was top one of my favorite projects to do. We were so connected at that time. Creating something together makes us best friends almost for that.
Now back to you, Bell, and let's create something more next time you come and visit in Tokyo.
I'm going to Tokyo, yes.